In this tutorial, I'm going to be showing you how to make the Flutter and Bloom blanket. In this 4-part series, I'll guide you step by step through creating this beautiful blanket made up of floral and butterfly inspired squares. I'll leave in the description box a link to the written pattern where you'll find the written instructions, the chart. You'll also have pictorials in there, and it also caters to both US and UK terms. For this tutorial, I have used a acrylic DK yarn. I have used 3 colours, so we have the main colour, which is this off-white. We have the first contrast colour, which is lime green, and then I also have the second contrast colour, which is petal pink. So I am using Yarnsmith's Create DK. As I say, this is 100% acrylic yarn. You can obviously use just 2 colours if you wanted to. You could do more, you could play around with your colours, but this is what I have used for this particular blanket. You will need a 4mm crochet hook, or whichever size hook you need to obtain the gauge, which will be particularly important when it comes to yardage. You will need a pair of scissors and a darning needle for sewing up your pieces and also sewing in your ends. A tape measure will come in really handy for measuring your gauge. I would recommend that you have around 18 stitch markers, whichever type stitch markers you prefer. I really like these clip ones, and then I also found these jumbo size ones, which I really like. There isn't quite 18 here, there's actually 4 short, but I want to have those 4 a slightly different style. So these would be the smaller ones, and these are going to be the corner stitch markers, so 4 different ones to the rest to keep track of your corners when it comes to the border. I would also recommend that you have a blocking mat. I like to use play mats and also use rust-free blocking pins as well. I'm going to steam block my squares, so if you do have a steamer then you will need that, or you could also use an iron on steam mode as long as you're careful not getting too close to the fabric. Alternatively, you can dampen down and block that way. So this project is going to be broken down into 4 videos. We're going to have video 1, which is the bloom square, and then video 2, which is the blocking square. Video 3 will be how to join everything, and then finally video 4 will be the border. So go ahead, grab everything you need. Like I say, I've left everything in the description box below. If you want the written pattern, that is available to purchase. If you do see it on the screen here, make sure that you do click through, because there should be a discount applied once you get through to my store. So let's go ahead and get started with this first square. So this is the bloom square, which we're going to get started with. I just wanted to go over a couple of things first in terms of the gauge. So when we get to round 5, our work is going to measure around 2.5 inches. So at that point you can measure to see where you're at with your gauge. And then the overall square, so, and this is for all of them, are going to measure around 13 inches after light blocking. So this hasn't been blocked yet. This is about 12.5 inches, but once this gets blocked out, that will come out to around 13 inches. So if you're coming out smaller than that, then obviously that is absolutely fine. If you're coming out larger, then that might affect your yardage, or it will affect your yardage, so just bear that in mind. The main aim is that we're having all of those squares the same size, just to make it really easy for when it comes to joining and you don't run into any issues. So let's go ahead and grab our 4mm crochet hook, and we're going to be starting with the main colour, which is this off-white, and then our contrast colour is going to be the lime green. So we're going to begin by doing this first round, and MR stands for magic ring or magic circle. So we're going to start off by doing our magic circle and then working 8 double crochets, which is US single crochets, into that magic ring. So you're going to go ahead and take your main colour, you're going to lay the tail end over your finger like this, wrap it round your finger to create an X. You're going to go ahead and take your crochet hook, go under that first loop and pull that second loop through like so, and then you're going to chain 1 to secure that magic ring, or that magic circle as you may call it. So we're going to do 8 double crochets, which is US single crochets, into this magic ring. So insert, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Going to pull that magic ring closed, and then we're going to go ahead and slip stitch into the back loop only of that very first stitch. If you're unsure of where to go into, you can count backwards: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. So we're just going to go into that back loop only, yarn over and pull through both loops on the hook, and there we have created our first round. So when we move on to round 2 now, we're going to change colour at this point, and this just creates a neater colour change. So we're going to loop the yarn over and pull through, and then just pull down on colour A and then bring that down. So we want to make sure that colour A is as far down as possible. So we're starting like this. We are not going to fasten off colour A, or the main colour, because we're going to be working with both colours throughout the whole of the work. So let's take a look at round 2. So for round 2, and you could be working this way if you're left-handed or this way if you're right-handed. It doesn't matter, you can read the chart the same, you just go in the opposite way. This is round 2, so when we're looking at our numbers, we're looking at the rows like this. So 2 is here, but we follow this round like so. Now we have a circle here and an X here, which means we're going to be doing a treble crochet whenever you see this X. But this first or the second round is slightly different to the subsequent rounds because it's got a red X here. Normally when you're working one of these X's, you go into 2 rows below. However, we've only done 1 round, so we're going to go into the last round that we created. And we are going to do something slightly different in this first corner as opposed to the next corners. So let me show you what I mean by that. So for this first round, we're going to be working into the front loop and the back loop of the stitches around. So we're going to start off by doing a treble crochet, which is a US double crochet, into this very first front loop. So we joined in the back loop, so we just need to find this front loop here. If I just take this darning needle, we can see that it's just here. So we're going to work a treble crochet into that front loop. So yarn over, go into that front loop, yarn over, pull through. You'll have 3 loops on the hook, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, and yarn over, pull through 2 loops. So that's our first treble crochet. We're going to chain 1, which is the corner, and then work a treble crochet again, like so. We're then going to do what is represented by the red X, so we're going to work into that front loop only of the stitch again with a treble crochet. So this is like a partial corner because we're actually going to work into that stitch again once we've worked all the way around. But now we have just a white box, which means we're going to work a double crochet into the back loop of that next stitch, which is a US single crochet. We then come to the corner stitches again. So we're going to find the front loop of this next stitch, and we're going to work 2 treble crochets, 1 and 2, so that's US double crochets, chain 1, and 2 trebles into that same stitch again, 1 and 2. So we've just created our corner section just there. We're going to do a back loop only double crochet, which is US single crochet, and then work the corner again. So 2 trebles, 1 and 2, chain 1, and 2 trebles all into that same front loop. 1 and 2. We'll do that side stitch again, so back loop only double crochet, and then work another corner stitch. So 2 trebles into the front loop only, 1 and 2, chain 1 and another 2 trebles, 1 and 2, all into that same front loop. We're going to do a back loop only double crochet into that next stitch, and then it will look like you have a stitch just here, but that is actually our slip stitch from the previous round. What we're actually going to do here is find that very first stitch that we worked into and work a treble crochet into that front loop, and what that does is that completes the corner. So we now have 2 trebles, a chain 1 and 2 trebles. The reason why we do that is so that when we join into the back loop only of the next stitch now with a slip stitch like so, it then brings us into the right position where we need to be. So let's take a look at our work now. What you can do here if you want to is mark your corner stitches, those chain 1s, just to make it a little bit easier to find where we're working into. I'm going to leave mine off just for the sake of the video, and it will kind of be a little bit easier to see, but you can mark those corner stitches if you feel like you're going to get confused of where you're going to. So we've finished row 2. We're now going to go ahead and pick up our main colour and pull that through the loop that's on the hook. Pull down on the contrast colour just to pull that down, and we're now ready to do row 3. So for row 3, what we're going to do is we're going to be using this main colour, so that's why it's in white. You can see that row 4 is in the greens, which is our contrast colour. So even though when we get further up, for example here, we have round 5 is the main colour, but we actually have a green, that's because we're going to be using stitches to cover that round. So always look at what this round is saying, what colour we're using, and we're always going to be using that same colour regardless of what this row looks like. So we're going to be working a simple corner, so that's a double crochet, chain 1 double crochet into the back loop, which is US single crochet. Wherever we have these blank squares, this is where we're going to do a back loop only double crochet US single crochet. And wherever we have these X's, we're actually going to do a treble crochet into the front loop only of the stitch 2 rows down. So in this case, this is around that row or that round 1. So I will demonstrate what that means, and it will become clearer once we get going with this. We're then going to do a back loop only double crochet twice before we work our corner. So let's see what this looks like. So we have our main colour on our hook. We want to find that chain 1 which is just next to it, and we're going to work into the back loop only of that chain. So we're going to work a back loop only double crochet, which is US single crochet, chain 1 and back loop only double crochet, which is US single crochet, and that is our corner. If you wish to pop a stitch marker in that corner, then please feel free to do so. You want to make sure that you know where your corners are. I'm just going to leave mine out for now. We then want to work that next stitch, which is in that corner box. So it's a back loop only double crochet, which is US single crochet. And then we have our 3 stitches. So it's a back loop stitch. And then we have our drop down treble crochet, which is US double crochet. So what that means is we're going to be working that treble crochet or US double crochet into this front loop of this round. So if you look directly below, we have this open loop here. We also have one here, here and here. We're just working into this one now. So it's yarn over. You want to pick up that front loop. So I like to twist my hook downwards like this, just to make it easier to get into there. But you also want to be mindful that you're not pulling too much on this work. So as I go in here, I pull on my tension a little bit to bring this stitch down, yarn over, pull through. So then yarn over, pull through 2, and yarn over, pull through 2 to complete that stitch. Now we've just worked over that next stitch. We then want to do that back loop only double crochet, US single crochet in the next stitch. So we've just completed those 3 stitches which are between the corner boxes. We're then going to work into the next stitch with a back loop only double crochet, which is US single crochet, before we then go and do our corner. So we have our corner stitch here, and we're going to be working into the back loop of that chain. We're going to do a back loop only double crochet, chain 1, and a back loop only double crochet in that stitch, like so. We're then going to do the same thing all the way round. So from now on, I'm just going to refer to them as a back loop stitch or a drop down stitch, just to make it easier. But just remember that when we're doing a back loop stitch, that is a UK double crochet, which is a US single crochet, and then a front loop stitch is a drop down treble crochet, which is US double crochet. So let's do this next side then, because we're going to repeat this all the way around. We're going to do a back loop stitch, which is in that corner box, and then we have those 3 stitches again. We'll do a back loop stitch, and then a drop down stitch into this front loop just here. So yarn over, find that front loop, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. We then have a back loop stitch, and then we're going to work into these corner stitches. So we've got in that box, we have that back loop stitch first, then we have our corner. So we're working into the back loop of that chain 1 with a back loop, chain 1, back loop. And we'll repeat that again. I'll work this whole round with you just while you're getting used to it. So we'll do a back loop stitch, then we have our 3 stitches, which is back loop, a drop down stitch into that front loop. So pick up that front loop, work your treble, US double, a back loop stitch, and then we're in that box again. So back loop stitch, and then that corner section, back loop, chain 1, and back loop. We're still in the box, so we need to do that back loop stitch. We have 3 stitches. So we'll go back loop, drop down front loop, and back loop. We then have that last stitch in the box, which we didn't do from the at the beginning. So we've got that back loop stitch, and then we're going to join with a slip stitch to that very first stitch in the back loop only. So that is round 3. We'll drop the main colour and pick up the contrast colour. To change colours like so. And then we'll move on to round 4. So for round 4, we're working slightly different. We have a circle and an X, which is going to be worked slightly different to this one because we didn't have those drop down stitches to work into. So what we're going to do in this case is we're going to work this corner as the beginning corner, or if you're left-handed, you'll be working this way. But wherever we start is going to be slightly different to what we do on the rest of the corners. So here we're going to do a drop down stitch, a chain 1, a drop down stitch, and then another drop down stitch into that next stitch. We then have 5 back loop stitches before then doing that corner again. So what we're going to do now is we're going to find the front loop of the corner from 2 rows down. So if you kind of go diagonally, you can find it just here. So that is where we're going to be working into. So we're going to yarn over, go into that front loop, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, and yarn over, pull through 2. So we have 1 treble, we'll chain 1, and then we're going to work 2 trebles into that same front loop. 1 and 2. Now just bear in mind that this corner has not been fully completed yet. We then have our 5 stitches. So we have our central stitch here. We have 1, 2, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So we're going to go into that next stitch with a back loop stitch. So it's 1, and then the next 4, 2, 3, 4, and 5. We then have our corner, what we're going to work now, and this is going to be a full corner. So again, we're working into that corner front loop from 2 rows down, yarn over, find that front loop, and we're going to work 2 drop down stitches, 1 and 2, chain 1 and work 2 drop down stitches, 1 and 2. We then have our 5 back loop stitches, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And then we do that again. So we have our corner. So we're going to work 2 drop down stitches, 1 and 2, chain 1 and 2 drop down stitches all into that same corner, 1 and 2. We then have 5 back loop stitches, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. We'll work our corner again. So 2 drop down stitches, 1, 2, chain 1, and then 2 drop down stitches into that same front loop. We have our last 5 back loops, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And then we're going to finish off this corner. So we're going to do a drop down stitch into that very same stitch that we started in. Find the back loop of the next stitch and slip stitch into there. Drop the contrast colour and pick up the main colour. So this is what your round 4 should be looking like. Let's take a look at what we're going to do in round 5. So round 5 is showing us that we're using our main colour all the way across. We just have a simple corner this time. So we're going to work a back loop, chain 1 back loop, and then a back loop into the next stitch. We then have 7 stitches before we get to the next corner section. So we'll do a back loop, 2 drop downs, a back loop, even though this is a different colour, we're still doing a back loop because it's empty, 2 drop downs, back loop, and then we'll get into our corner section. So let's start that first corner then. We're going to find that chain 1 just here, and we're going to work a back loop, chain 1 and a back loop, we're still in that corner box, so we're going to do a back loop into that next stitch, and then we are into the 7 stitches between those boxes. So we start off with a back loop, we then do 2 drop down stitches, so we're looking at these front loops just here, 1 and 2. We have a back loop stitch, 2 drop down stitches, 1 and 2, and then a back loop stitch, and then we're into that corner box, so it's a back loop, and then we're going to work that corner, back loop, chain 1 and back loop into the same stitch, complete that corner box with a back loop stitch. And I'll just go over this one side again to show you what you're doing between those 2 corner boxes, and then you can continue all the way round. So now it's a back loop stitch, 2 drop down stitches, 1 and 2, back loop stitch, 2 drop down stitches, 1 and 2, back loop stitch, and then we have our corner box, so we have our back loop, and then into the next stitch, into that corner stitch, it's back loop, chain 1, back loop, and then finish off that corner box, which is back loop stitch, before you go onto your next stitches. So you're going to rewind the video if you need to, but work that across here and also across here, and then we still have to finish off that first corner box. So pause the video once you've finished your side stitches, and then meet me back once you're ready. So I've just worked my way round. I have this last back loop to do, which is actually part of that first corner box, and then I'm going to work into the back loop of that first stitch to join before dropping the main colour and picking up the next colour. And now we are on to round 6. So from this point forward, I'm going to show you how to do this first edge, and then you can repeat it all the way round. Remember, when we do these first stitches, we do it slightly different to the rest of the corners, so I'll show you what to do in the first box and also the next corner box, so you can repeat round. So we're using the contrast colour. We're going to work that drop down corner. We then have 4 back loop stitches, 1 drop down stitch, 4 back loop stitches before we go into the corner box again. So for round 6 now, we're going to start our first corner box, which we're just going to do a drop down stitch, chain 1 and 2 drop down stitches, 1 and 2. We then have those 4 back loop stitches, 1, 2, 3 and 4, a drop down stitch, 4 back loop stitches, 1, 2, 3 and 4, and then we have our corner box. So this is a full corner now, so we'll do 2 drop down stitches, 1, 2, chain 1 and 2 drop down stitches, 1 and 2. So pause the video now. You're going to do your edge stitches, your corner box, edge, corner box and edge, and then we'll finish off this beginning corner box. So pause the video, rewind if you need to, work your way round and meet me back once you're ready. So I've worked my way round. I'm now going to finish off this first corner box by doing a drop down stitch into that first stitch that we worked into, join in the back loop only of the next stitch, and then change to the main colour. So for round 7 we have a simple corner. We're going to do a back loop only, chain 1 and back loop only, and then a back loop only to finish off that corner box. We then have 1 back loop stitch followed by 3 drop down stitches. 1, 2 and 3. We have 2 back loop stitches, 1 and 2, and then 4 drop down stitches. 1, 2, 3 and 4. We'll do a back loop stitch, and then we have our corner box. So we'll do a back loop and then back loop, chain 1 and back loop into that corner stitch, and then a back loop stitch to finish off that corner box. So go ahead, work your edge, corner, edge, and meet me back to finish off this first corner box. So I've just worked my way round and I have done my last edge stitch, and I'm just going to finish off that corner stitch or that corner box by working a back loop, and then I'm going to join with a slip stitch in the back loop of that first stitch. I'm going to drop my main colour, pick up contrast colour and get ready to start working with that. So let's move on to round 8. Now round 8 does have a different symbol, and what this means is this is a drop down stitch, but we're actually going to drop it into the next stitch. So we're actually going to go into this stitch from below. So I'll show you how we're going to do that. We're going to start off with our corner box, our beginning corner box. So drop down, stitch, chain 1 and 2 drop down stitches into that corner space. And then we have 4 back loop stitches. 1, 2, 3 and 4. So here we have our L. So we can see that just below we don't actually have the drop down stitch to work into, which is correct because we're actually going to work into the next stitch across. So it's going to be yarn over, go into that next stitch, the front loop of that next stitch, like so. We then have a drop down stitch for the next stitch, and this is going to go into that same stitch that we've just worked into. So now we have 2 stitches, but they're worked into the same stitch from below, and this just helps to give this what will be a leaf a little bit of shape. We then have a drop down stitch into the next stitch, followed by 6 back loop stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. We're then going to work our full corner box, 2 drop down stitches, 1 and 2, chain 1 and 2 drop down stitches, 1 and 2. So go ahead, pause the video, work your edge, corner, and edge, and meet me back to finish off this beginning corner box. So I've worked my way round. I'm now going to finish off that corner box with that drop down stitch and go ahead and join to the back loop of the first stitch before pulling through the main colour. So for round 9, we're going to go ahead and do a simple corner. So back loop, chain 1 and back loop in that corner stitch and back loop to finish off that corner box. We then have a back loop followed by 3 drop down stitches. 1, 2 and 3. We have 4 back loop stitches. 1, 2, 3 and 4, and then 6 drop down stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. We have 1 back loop stitch and then we're going to do our corner box. So back loop stitch and then back loop, chain 1, back loop and back loop stitch to finish off that corner box. So you will do your edge, your corner, your edge, your corner, and then finish your last edge and meet me back for finishing off this round. So now that you've worked your way around, you're going to do your last back loop to complete that beginning corner box, and then go ahead and join with a slip stitch into the back loop of that first stitch. Now we're ready for round 10. We're going to start off with our drop down, chain 1 and 2 drop down stitches into that first stitch to create our beginning corner box. We have 5 back loop stitches, 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. I'm just going to bring this in because we now have a few different symbols for this row. So we have an LX. So for this, we're actually going to do in the current stitch and the next stitch, we're actually going to crochet those 2 together. And then we have an R, which means we're actually just going to do the drop down into the previous stitch. Let's go ahead and do that first one, which is the LX. So we're going to yarn over, go into that current stitch, yarn over, pull through, and yarn over, pull through 2. Leave 2 loops on the hook, yarn over, go into that next stitch, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2. You'll have 3 loops on the hook, yarn over, pull through all 3 loops, and that creates just 1 stitch. So as this lays down, we're missing this stitch, and then we're going to do a back loop into the next stitch and the next stitch. We then have a drop down stitch, so just a normal drop down stitch, and then the next stitch, which is an R, is going to go into that same stitch. So this stitch accounts for this one. When we now do 7 back loop stitches, we're skipping this stitch because that one that we've just done accounts for that stitch. Then we go into the next with a back loop. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Now going to do that drop down corner. So 2 drop down stitches, chain 1, 2 drop down stitches, 1 and 2. So you'll repeat that all the way around, doing your edge, corner, and edge, and then meet me back once you're ready. So we're now going to finish off that corner box, join, and switch to the main colour. So for round 11, we're going to do a simple corner, so back loop, chain 1 back loop, and then back loop to finish off that corner box. We have 1 more back loop and 5 drop down stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. A back loop stitch, and then we have 2 drop down stitches. Now remember we did 2 stitches together here, so 2 stitches made into 1. So this next front loop one is just hidden slightly, so you might just need to push those stitches out of the way just to find that front loop. There's 1 and 2. We then have 3 back loop stitches, 1, 2, and 3, and then we're going to do 6 drop down stitches, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. We have a back loop stitch before doing that corner box. So back loop, and then back loop, chain 1 and back loop into that corner stitch, and then a back loop to finish off that corner box. And then you're going to repeat that all the way round and meet me back for finishing off this round. So I'm going to finish off the corner box and join and change back to the contrast colour. So for round 12, we're going to start off with that beginning drop down box. So 1 drop down, chain 1 and 2 drop down stitches in that first stitch, 1 and 2. And then we're going to do 10 back loop stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. We have a drop down stitch and 2 back loop stitches, 1 and 2. And then we have another symbol just here. This is R2. So we're going to do 2 stitches together, and we're actually going to go into this stitch and this stitch. So we're actually going to go 2 stitches back and 1 stitch back. So as we look at it on the work here, we're working into this one and this one. So it's yarn over, go into the 1, 2 stitches back, yarn over, pull through, and yarn over, pull through 2, and then yarn over into 1 stitch back, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, and yarn over, pull through all 3 stitches. Now those 2 stitches account for this stitch here. So after this we've got 7 stitches in the back loop. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. And then do that drop down corner, which is 2 drop down stitches, 1 and 2, chain 1 and 2 drop down stitches, 1 and 2. So you're going to go ahead and do your edge, your corner, your edge, your corner, and your last edge, and then meet me back once you're ready. So we're going to finish off this corner box with a drop down stitch and then joining and switching colours. So now for round 13 we're going to do a simple corner, so back loop, chain 1 and back loop. Finish that corner box with a back loop, and then we have 1 more back loop as well. Then we have 10 drop down stitches, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. We have 1 back loop and then 2 drop down stitches. So we have this first drop down stitch, and then similarly to before, this next drop down stitch is going to be hidden slightly with those other stitches, those diagonal stitches. We then have a back loop stitch and then 7 drop down stitches, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. We've got a back loop stitch, and then we've got that corner box, so back loop stitch and then back loop, chain 1, back loop into the corner, and then back loop stitch. And you're going to repeat that all the way around for the edge, the corner, the edge, the corner, and the edge, and then we'll finish off this beginning corner. So pause the video and meet me back once you're ready. We're going to finish off this round by doing our back loop to finish off that corner box, and slip stitch and change colours. So we're now on to round 14, which is a pretty easy round to do. We're going to start off with our beginning drop down corner. So just 1 drop down stitch, chain 1 and 2 drop down stitches in that first stitch, 1 and 2. Then we have 12 back loop stitches, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. Then we have a drop down stitch, the only one of this edge, and then 12 back loop stitches. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 and 12, and then a drop down corner, full corner. 2 drop down stitches, chain 1 and 2 drop down stitches, 1 and 2. So you'll repeat that all the way round and then meet me back to finish off this first corner. Okay, so we're going to finish off this round by finishing this corner box with a drop down stitch, and then joining with a slip stitch and changing colours. So we're now on to round 15. We're going to start off with our simple corner. So back loop, chain 1 and back loop into that first stitch, and then finishing off that corner box with another back loop. We have one more back loop before working 3 drop downs. 1, 2 and 3. We have a back loop and then 8 drop down stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 and 8. We have a back loop stitch and then 8 drop down stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 and 8. Back loop only and 3 drop downs. 1, 2 and 3. A back loop, and then we come to the corner box, so a back loop, and then into the corner space we'll work a back loop, chain 1 and back loop, and then another back loop to finish off that corner box. So you will work that all the way round and then meet me back to finish off this beginning box. So we'll finish off this round with a back loop, join with a slip stitch and change to the contrast colour. So now for round 16, we're going to start off with this beginning drop down corner. So 1 drop down, chain 1 and 2 drop down stitches into that corner space. We then have 5 back loop stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5, and then a drop down stitch. We have 8 back loop stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 and 8, and then a drop down stitch, 8 back loop stitches, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 and 8, drop down stitch, and 5 back loop stitches, 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. We'll complete our full drop down corner. So it's 2 drop downs, chain 1 and 2 drop downs, 1 and 2, and you will repeat that all the way round until you get to this first corner where we'll complete this corner. So we've now worked our way round. We're going to finish off this first corner with a drop down stitch, join and change back to the main colour. So for round 17 we're going to start off with our simple corner, back loop, chain 1 and back loop, and then 1 more back loop to finish off that corner box. We then have 1 more back loop, and then we have 3 drop down stitches, 1, 2 and 3. We have a back loop and then a drop down and then 3 back loops, 1, 2 and 3. We have 2 drop downs, 1 and 2, and then we have that LX symbol again, which means we're going to crochet 2 stitches together. So we're going to crochet, go into that next stitch, yarn over and pull through, leaving 2 loops on the hook, and then into the next stitch, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, and yarn over, pull through all 3. So that is just counting as 1 stitch. And then we're going to do 7. So remembering that that last one that you've just worked into, we're actually working into that stitch with the back loop. So 7 back loops, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7. And now we have an XR. So this one's slightly different to what we've done before. We're going to do the same as this, but in this same stitch here and in the next stitch. So going to yarn over, go into the back loop of that stitch that we've just worked over and leave 2 loops on the hook, and then what will be the current stitch, so the stitch after, and work those stitches together like so. So this is creating the roundedness of the flower. We then got 2 drop down trebles, 1 and 2, 3 back loop stitches, 1, 2, 3, a drop down, a back loop, and then 3 drop downs, 1, 2 and 3. We'll do a back loop and then we'll work the corner. So back loop and then back loop, chain 1 and back loop, and back loop. So you'll go ahead and work that all the way round until you get to your first corner, and then meet me back once you're ready. So we're going to work our last back loop, in this round, join and change colours. So for round 18 we're going to start off with our beginning drop down corner, 1 drop down, chain 1 and 2 drop down stitches in that corner stitch. We then have 5 back loop stitches, 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. A drop down stitch and 7 back loop stitches, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7. We then have 7 drop down stitches. This first one is going to be hidden slightly. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and this 7th one, it's also going to be hidden slightly. So that's 7. We then have 7 back loop only stitches, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7. A drop down stitch and then 5 back loop only stitches, 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. And then we have our drop down corner, so 2 drop down stitches, 1 and 2, chain 1 and 2 drop down stitches, 1 and 2. So you're going to work that all the way round, finish off this first corner and change back to your main colour, and then meet me back once you're ready. So we're now on to round 19. We're going to start off with a simple corner, back loop, chain 1 and back loop, and then back loop to finish off that corner block. We have a back loop followed by 3 drop downs, 1, 2 and 3, and 5 back loops, 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5, 4 drop downs, 1, 2, 3 and 4, and then we have 9 back loops, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 and 9, 4 drop downs, 1, 2, 3 and 4, 5 back loops, 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5, and 3 drop downs, 1, 2 and 3, and then we have a back loop and then the corner block, back loop, chain 1, back loop in the corner, and then back loop. So you're going to work that all the way round, finish off your corner block, change back to your contrast colour, and then meet me back once you're ready. Moving on to round 20, we're going to start off with our beginning drop down corner. So it's a drop down, chain 1, and then 2 drop down stitches in that corner space. We're then going to do 7 back loop only stitches, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. We've got a drop down stitch and then 6 back loop only stitches, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. We're then going to do 3 drop down stitches, 1, 2, and 3, 3 back loop only stitches, 3 back loop only stitches, 1, 2, and 3, and then 3 drop downs, 1, 2, and 3. We then have 6 back loop only stitches, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, a drop down, and 7 back loop only stitches, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. We then have our full drop down corner, 2 drop downs, chain 1 and 2 drop downs, 1 and 2. So you're going to work that all the way round, finish off this first corner and change back to the main colour. So we're now going to work round 21. We're going to start off by doing a back loop, chain 1 and back loop into that first stitch, the corner stitch, and then work a back loop to finish off that corner section. We then have 1 more back loop, and then we're going to do 3 drop down stitches, 1, 2, and 3. We then have 3 back loop stitches, 1, 2, and 3, a drop down stitch, a back loop, and then 6 drop down stitches, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. We've got 3 back loop stitches, 1, 2, 3, 3 drop down stitches, 1, 2, and 3, and 3 back loop stitches, 1, 2, and 3. We then have 6 drop down stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. We have a back loop, a drop down and 3 back loops. 1, 2, 3, 3 drop downs, 1, 2 and 3, a back loop, and then we have our corner section. So back loop, chain 1 and back loop and back loop. So you're going to repeat that all the way around, finish off your first corner and change colours, and then meet me back once you're ready. For round 22 we're going to do our beginning drop down corner. So drop down, chain 1 and 2 drop down stitches. And then we're going to do 7 back loop stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7. We have a drop down stitch and then 9 back loop stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 and 9. We've got 2 drop down stitches, 1 and 2, 3 back loop stitches, 1, 2, 3, 2 drop down stitches, 1 and 2, then 9 back loop stitches, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 and 9, a drop down and 7 back loop. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7. Then going to do a drop down corner, so 2 drop down stitches, chain 1 and 2 drop down stitches, 1 and 2. You'll repeat that all the way round and complete your first corner, change back to your main colour and then meet me back once you're ready. So for round 23 we're going to start off by doing a simple corner. So we're going to do a back loop, chain 1 and back loop, and then we're just going to do a back loop in the next 2 stitches, 1 and 2. We then have 7 drop down stitches, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7. We have a back loop stitch and then we have 9 drop down stitches, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 and 9. We then have 7 back loop stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7. 9 drop down stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 and 9. We have a back loop, 7 drop downs. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7. 2 back loops, 1 and 2, and then we have our simple corner. Back loop, chain 1 and back loop. You've got your back loop which finishes off that corner box, and then you would go into your next back loop, and then you continue that all the way around. So work that all the way around till you get to your first corner, join, and then change colours to the contrast colour and meet me back once you're ready. For round 24, we're actually going to start with a simple corner. So back loop, chain 1 and back loop, and then back loop in the next stitch to finish that corner block. We then have 2 drop down stitches, 1 and 2, and then we've got 18 stitches, back loop stitches. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 and 18. We've got 5 drop down stitches, 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5, and then we have 18 stitches again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 and 18. 2 drop down trebles, 1 and 2, and then a back loop, chain 1 and back loop, and a back loop to make that corner. So you're going to repeat that all the way round, finish off your first corner and change back to your main colour. For round 25, we're going to do a beginning drop down corner. So that's 1 drop down stitch, chain 1 and 2 drop down stitches, 1 and 2. We then have another drop down stitch and 2 back loop stitches, 1 and 2. We then have 18 drop down stitches, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 and 18. We have 5 back loop stitches, 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5, and another 18 drop down stitches, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 and 18. Got 2 back loop only stitches, 1 and 2. We have a drop down stitch, and then we have a full drop down corner stitch. 2 drop downs, 1 and 2, chain 1 and 2 drop downs, 1 and 2. And then you would repeat that all the way around again. Finish off your first corner and change back to your contrast colour. So now we're on round 26. We're going to go ahead and do a simple corner. So a back loop, chain 1 and back loop. Another back loop to finish off that corner block. And then 2 back loops, 1 and 2, a drop down, and then another drop down. Then you're going to do back loop stitches all the way to this next block here. So go ahead, pause the video, work to here, and then meet me back. I'll show you how to finish off. So after all these back loops across, you then have your 2 drop down stitches, 1 and 2, 2 back loops, 1 and 2, and then your corner section back loop, and then into the corner stitch, back loop, chain 1 and back loop, and then finish off that corner block, back loop. So you'll go ahead, work that all the way round, finish off this first corner and change back to your main colour. So we're now ready to work the final round. We're going to work a beginning drop down corner. So it's 1 drop down, chain 1, and 2 drop downs, 1 and 2. And then we're going to work 3 drop downs, 1, 2 and 3. And then where we have these 2 drop down stitches, we're going to work a back loop and a back loop. And then we're going to work drop downs all the way up to this section here. So go ahead, pause the video and then meet me back. So now we're up to this section, we can go ahead and do 2 back loop stitches, 1 and 2, and then 3 drop down stitches, 1, 2 and 3, and then we have our full corner, drop down corner. So 2 drop down stitches, chain 1 and 2 drop down stitches, 1 and 2. And you're going to repeat that all the way around and finish off your corner, and then I'll show you what to do next. So now that you've worked your way all the way around, you can actually fasten off your main colour, and you can fasten off the contrast colour. And what you want to do is sew in your ends. So you'll have these 2 ends and you will also have the ends from the beginning. So you can sew those in. And this is your bloom square. You want to make sure that you have 5 of these in total. You also will probably want to get a blocking mat and make sure that these are nice and straight in the corners, and make sure that all of your squares are all the same size. So you can pin this to a blocking mat and gently steam with a hand steamer just to get them ready for sewing together. So you want to have 5 of these, and then you're also going to want to have 5 of the Flutter squares, and the tutorial for that will be in the next video. Don't forget to tag me on social media so that I can see your progress or your finished makes. Also, don't forget to subscribe to this channel, and if you're ready for the next video, you can find it here.